Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Glory. Will I call you Gloria or Gloriji?
Gloriji, please.
Namaste, Gloriji. I'm so grateful and happy to see you and to be here with you.
Thank you so much. We have a very calm presence. I like that so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I yeah.
So, yeah, I just kind of, I don't know, I think I feel like I get a sense of the person of who I'm going to meet like in a few days just before I meet them. Like
Yeah.
it's almost like life is kind of preparing me for it or something. And somehow with the sense of meeting you, I don't know, my heart is just feels very happy and um I don't really usually come with a list of questions or anything, but this time sometimes things like occur to me, like maybe I could ask them this or that, or sometimes I'm just like completely empty. But like just the kind of sense that I have is like, how can I get the magic out of you or something? Because I feel like you've got a lot of magic in you.
Thank you so much. Well, I work organically and I just go with the flow. So that is what's uh, appropriate here. And thank you for understanding my speech and saying that I can take all the time I need. That's so comforting. So thank you.
Yeah. And just for those who are listening, I'm not actually even sure, maybe you want to say, but I know some time ago, maybe it was a year ago,
2 years ago,
2 years ago now, that you had a stroke. So I don't really remember. I did hear you speaking before, so I don't really remember what your speech was like before, but maybe it's a bit slower. Maybe, I
yeah.
don't know. It sounds very nice, like in
Well,
to
thank
listen
you.
to. So.
Yeah, it's slower but I've come a long way
Yeah.
with it. So I'm pleased, yeah,
Yeah.
with how it sounds now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. So I don't know. I was wondering like how I could inspire your heart. Like, so I don't know, maybe that's a good question, even just like what inspires your heart, and not necessarily inspires it to do anything, but just it, like what makes you feel inspired.
Right now, in this moment, the inspiration is coming from you, and I am inspired to reach out and touch someone's heart. And that's all I'm about, because there's so much out there that we can listen to intellectually, but the heart connection is often missing. And this is where the magic happens when we reach out to each other and there's a real heart resonance that is beyond words. And I feel like I'm choking up now because I'm hearing myself say this for the very first time. And that's what jazzes my heart and my soul to, I have a lot of friends that are writing books. Everybody's got a book. And I feel, in spite of my speech impediment, I feel like the best way to communicate is through video. And I would much rather do a podcast like this one than to write a book at this stage. Because you can search for YouTube on anything and you say heart. The message here is heart. This is going to pop up.
Mhm.
And it's instantaneously, uh, an option. So I like that. And I don't care about writing books, but I care very much about the message I'm sent to make. And I feel that is true, or I wouldn't be doing it.
Mm. And is your message, oh, I can hear myself echoing. Is your message like what you just said, like just kind of love and connectedness and connecting to each other through the heart? Or is there
Yeah.
more to your message?
Yes, the more is the heart connection, because I know that the healing happens there.
Mm.
And where the compassion and the heart message is felt, then people are more inclined to open up and share their heart and what's bothering them, or how things are going right for them, and they feel like they can trust you because they have the resonance already established.
Mm.
So I would like to say that uh, I, I think we can all trust our own experience.
Mm.
So many masters have walked the planet, but two of my favorites are Ramana Maharshi and Nisargadatta.
Mm.
And they both agree to look beyond yourself is to be caught up in illusion. And when we dug deep in our own heart to the cave of our heart, then something happens to us. We take responsibility for what we are perceiving. We take responsibility for our actions, because we're no longer blaming the outside for our circumstances. And when we get to this point, we're naturally kind. We're bearing the fruits of our, beingness. We're we're kindness and compassion. All these fruits come to bear. And a lot of people uh, say, well, who, what is it that wants to improve. But I think Adia Shanti said it very wisely, that this that is awake in us wants to awake all of us. And I like that very much. In the Bible, Jesus said you can't put new wineskin in old container. Same thing, because it will burst.
Mm.
So there's something that happens to us alchemically that the heart does its magic. We've come home to our own hearts and mind. The mind gets to play its role in our lives, not misleading us, but making the way, clearing the path, as I like to say, because the mind isn't bad.
Mm.
People say there is no mind, but we're always talking about being mindful, and we have an acceptance that there is a mind that we have to overcome. Then you hear there is no mind. Both are true. That's the paradox.
Mm.
And so you learn to live comfortably with paradox,
Mm.
like with free will and no free will.
Mm.
Both are true. And how do you say that? Well, in my experience, I know that all is God and I am that.
Mm.
But if I'm working from my conditioning, then I've settled on something. And instead of following my inner guidance, I might go with conditioning.
Mm.
But again, all is good. So I'm God and it's conditioning. So,
Can I ask you
yeah,
a question? Um,
yeah.
what would you say about, like, if we need to be concerned about conditioning at all? Because I think this is maybe where opposites come up, or at least in my mind, opposites are coming up. So, like many people say, and part of my mind says that, we need to kind of look towards conditioning and take responsibility also for what arises within us. So let's say here, if some kind of conditioning arises, or darkness, or
Yeah.
they seem to be both the same here. Should I, like, is it, well, I don't know if they're different, but is to focus on looking towards it, or just focus on only the truth of who I am, like, like, so my God self. And in a way, I kind of feel like they're not really two different things, but they can sound like two different things, because, like, maybe when I remain as myself, that conditioning doesn't just disappear, like it's still arising, but it will be met in the God self or something. But I don't know, I might not be saying it very well, so I just wondered if
No,
you wanted to say
I'm
something.
following you, and I love what you're saying, because you can't get rid of all conditioning. Our bodies are conditioned
Mm.
to be like they are.
Mm.
You, I think that when we inquire, I'm a big proponent of inquiry.
Mm.
Um, this is what the heart does. It'll inquire into the truth
Mm.
of something else, something. and you can resolve it for yourself with very little effort, because if something is appearing as evil, and you know in the backdrop of your mind that it's all God, how can these two things exist? And so uh, uh, somebody said, I can't remember, but something, the God and the devil are one.
Mm.
So when you understand that there may be karmic things appearing to us, or there may be when a person, I like to watch crime TV,
Mhm.
and I do that because I want to see if my mind goes into judgment or compassion.
Yeah.
I want to see that. And what I've discovered is a lot of people do things they wouldn't ordinarily do. A lot of the serial killers start very late in life, and something comes over them. And I feel like it's just grace that we don't all experience that, or maybe we do to a lesser extent.
Mm.
But you know, I I can't judge them because I've met my own demons, and I know that the shadow is my mind.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
it's full of concepts and all these things. But when you see beyond your mind,
Mm.
which was where we want to be,
Mm.
that we fully accept our mind is like that, then you've already nipped it in the bud,
Mm.
because the culprit is your mind, uh, saying this is good and this is bad.
Mm.
Everything comes together in the heart
Yeah.
of the awakened one. So I I can have compassion for the serial killer,
Yeah.
and you know it's uh, it's, it's extraordinary. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's like that, like we just kind of naturally have more and more compassion for what we see out there when we're, like you said, you faced your demons, so
Yeah.
when we face our own demons, and also, maybe this might sound bad, but like I think we're all the same, like so you could have, like I could have a serial killer thought, but like then I just kind of see it as a thought and something doesn't pick up on it. So when you kind of acknowledge that, this is pretty much just like what you say, you acknowledge that what the mind is capable of, like it's capable of anything at all. And then for some reason, certain beings like attach on to a certain idea or something, and they have to live that out for whatever reason. But I mean, we've all attached on to certain things,
Yes. Right.
so I think when we see that, it
I
helps us to have compassion for
I just
anything.
love you so much. I really do love you so much, because it's refreshing to me to be interviewed by somebody that gets that and really embodies that, because you've obviously done from searching on your own. And you know that you're capable of all these things. You wouldn't act on it, but the thought is there or whatever.
Mm.
And when you see, it's like it's a privilege to see your mind so clearly that you don't fall into it.
Yeah.
You know, that you can have compassion for your own mind.
Yeah.
And that's really deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the only thing in spirituality. It's like, you started by saying like just the heart, and to be in the heart and connect with each other through the heart. But then what we seem to be experiencing in life is the mind. So like then what's the choice in, are you still there? Your picture got frozen. Just wait till you come back. Sorry, that's maybe my internet connection is poor. um yeah, so it seems like that's the only choice, let's say. If we have a choice, is that there's like our heart is here, and then there's like seemingly the mind, so like there's all these kind of thoughts parading around in front of us, and like we can get caught up in thoughts, but when we come back to our heart, then this is where we find peace, I suppose.
Yeah. And then from the heart, you begin to express um, globally. You're not so interested in what's good for you, but good for everyone,
Yeah.
because everyone is you. So you want to be the peace, the peace that people are searching for, because you've met the peace inside yourself. And when this is so thorough and you're loving yourself very much, then you can love everybody, because your love is universal, you know?
And I feel like this is like, at least here, it's like an ongoing thing. So I feel very much kind of, I don't know, for lack of better words, I could say like rooted in my heart. And I feel like I know that the mind doesn't have anything to offer me yet. It still offers me things all the time. And I also do buy those ideas momentarily, like maybe for like a while there's some kind of idea going on, or something, somebody says something and it triggers something. And then like really the only thing that I have to do is somehow come back to the heart and stop kind of buying into the idea.
Well, let me tell you how that become one. When you're not even judging your mind for interrupting your silence,
Mm.
and you see that the mind is showing you how you can still be triggered and still be, that it's gifting you
Yeah.
with an opportunity to reconcile that in your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, we the mind becomes your greatest reminder of why compassion is even here. You know, um, compassion can. We never achieve anything, you know, we just go deeper and deeper and deeper.
And you know that deeper and deeper, would you say, I know this is kind of a mind thing, like even thinking about it, but would you say that kind of deepening is because of the ideas keep coming up and then we kind of see through them? And every time you see through them, it's almost like, and you're like, almost like, I don't know, you're never out of the heart, but you could say like deeper in the heart again and deeper. Like every time, I don't know if it's like this, but like some kind of conditioned story or some idea, it comes up. And then when you see through it, and maybe you just let go of it a bit more, because the same thing might come again another time, another time, another time. But somehow
Yeah.
we seem to be seeing through it a bit more. And that kind of lends to the deepening. And there could be other ways for deepening as well. But that seems to be one way
Yeah,
that
yeah.
happens.
I think um, I'm trying to remember what you said. It really charged me. I loved it. Um, I think it's always fresh. It's always
Yeah.
right now. And so if that's needed in the moment, that it's okay because only will you the mind wants to uh, say, oh, it's doing it again.
Mm.
Um, then you can see that. You see, oh, now the mind is getting tired because it's doing it again, you know.
Mm. Mm.
Um, and but you're free because you're observing this. And we want to bring our allegiance to what is free in us and not bound to the mind.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, um, we need to remember to always encourage everybody that what is this?
Yeah.
This is freedom. That this is so good that you have the ability to see what's going on with your mind and go, oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah. I love something that I think you shared something recently on Facebook or something. And the essence of it was like just let yourself appear to be like a fool or like be
Oh,
wrong. And I just thought it was so great because I think it's a real, like at least here, it can, I think we can kind of pick up new ideas like when you get into spirituality, and have a kind of a spiritual ego. Like
yeah,
a spiritual, I don't even know if it's a spiritual ego, like it's not a whole thing, it's just a kind of a spiritual idea that you can kind of buy into,
yeah,
but like that you want to be kind of right, or the way you express is the right way and the way they express is like the wrong way or something. So if someone says something that's like opposite to the way you say it, then it's like something is triggered. So that's obviously it's just an idea, that
yeah,
you've kind of bought into. So I kind of love these kind of conversations because I'm often talking to people and somehow they're speaking very clearly, but I just let myself I just let myself appear like the fool. And
yeah.
I kind of like that and let myself appear like totally like deluded and just whatever way it is, like, it's good. I like that. I let myself appear
Oh,
dumb and stupid.
I
Like,
suffered so much
mm,
in the beginning. I still suffered. I mean, I knew I was looking like a fool, and I wanted it because I wanted to see my triggers and I wanted to
mm,
see how delusional I was and my identities. I had so many of them. And
mm,
I knew, and I just knew that was a way uh, through for me because I was I I I have a lot of new thought friends, and I'm not new thought obviously, but
What's new
um,
thought?
no, new thought is like uh, um, you know the secret that
Yeah.
sort of that
Oh, okay.
like manifest your dreams
Oh,
and
okay.
that all
Mm,
that stuff, you know.
mm,
And I my center that I used to go to, I still do occasionally, but it's very much new thought. Well, the pastor is non-dual, but the congregation is new thought,
mm,
and it's kind of weird, but I love it because you mentioned new thought or you want to see triggers flying all in spiritual people. They just don't like that because people are wanting to talk about manifesting it.
mm,
And I think they're throwing the baby out with the bathwater
mhm,
because at least they get that what you think about can result in a manifestation. And I think uh, I like to address both because I think that's one area that is lacking in spirituality, that we manifest what we what we consciously think about,
mm,
and that will define our experience of something.
mm,
Um, I don't want to get off on that track, but anyway, um, it, uh, it's an important piece so that people have aversions to other people's religion simply keeps it there,
mm,
you know,
mm.
because of the aversion. We're putting the energy of um, uh, you know, it's a fuel. Like you're giving your attention what you don't like.
Yeah, like the way they say, what you resist persists.
That's it.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's that's a strong truth.
yeah.
Yeah.
And in, let's say, awakeness, um, or in like what you truly are, there isn't really any resistance there,
Right.
isn't it?
It's
So,
all God, you know?
yeah,
It's it's God. Um yeah. I don't yeah. I don't want to start on a tangent, but yeah, I think uh if you want to be a peaceful teacher and you want to be an answer to um, an availability to spirit unfolding, then treat everybody like God. Yeah,
that's some good advice. And I think you can kind of adopt that kind of, I don't know, you could call it a mentality. I know it's not really a mentality, but you could adopt that mentality at whatever um level you're at. I know there's not really levels, but you know, we kind of are at different stages in our development, or maybe in our depth of understanding, or our depth of seeing, or something. And maybe that's something that continues to change. Like, I don't know how you have seen yourself, like, or your, I don't know, I guess there's an aspect of yourself that changes, you know, and that has a kind of a deepening, and there's an aspect of yourself that doesn't have a deepening as well.
Yeah,
But
you're right. You're so you're gifted. You you see things, and this is so true because Nisargadatta addresses that. He says not only does if your perception changes, the thing you're perceiving changes you.
yeah,
My dogs are barking.
that's okay.
Okay, guys. Okay, I think we're good. But
You
yeah.
want to say
So
hello,
he,
maybe?
what you say?
I said they want to say hello.
Uh,
I said,
this one's pretty big. Yeah. Okay, Prince, you can be quiet now. Okay. But he said that. He said it changes you. It's circular.
mm,
Everything is circular. And it's meant to be this way because when the energy is circular, you have no end inside, you
yeah,
know? And um, you can grow
yeah.
and grow and grow and grow.
Mm. Somebody said something to me recently about that our kind of, I don't know what way they said it, but our kind of awakening, or life in general, is kind of like a spiral. So we're kind of, I think they meant we're like spiraling inward. So we kind of, the same kind of issues might come up, but like when they come up, we're kind of recognizing it and then going deeper into the spiral like the whole time. And I felt like that was quite nice. And you're talking about circular and spiral
Yeah,
kind of
that's
thing.
it. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. And also Nisargadatta Maharaj, you know, like maybe his most famous book is I Am That.
Yeah.
But I heard that he said at the end of his life, you know, that um something like forget about everything I said there and I am
Yeah.
that. Because
Yeah.
like his I don't know, his seeing or his perception was changing the whole time, you know. So I'm sure it's not completely irrelevant because it's beautiful and like there's many great pointers in it. But he was saying like it's something different now. I can't remember exactly what it was,
It
but
was, he said there's so much more.
there's so much more.
And yeah, and that, I think there's hope in that, that um, I think we are, um, I think we're vibrating at a level that I think we're not so dense.
Yeah.
We're not so dense.
Mm.
And so we can, like, even if we travel the astral plane or whatever, that same concept you gave applies. It's always changing our view,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
So it's still our perspective,
Mm.
but we're open to more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
And What's coming now is like, let's say for somebody who's listening, I think like most people who listen are, I imagine they're kind of in touch with some kind of non-dual teaching. I don't know why I imagine that, but it's just what I imagine it. um, but let's say for someone who might listen sometime that they're just kind of listening and they don't really know what we're talking about. Maybe they just stumble upon it or something. I kind of feel like, so you're kind of saying, and I would kind of say as well that really to just be in our heart is enough, and our heart kind of guides the way if there's a way, and really there's no way. The heart is our home, the end or something. But like, so I was kind of, my mind was kind of tempted to ask you the question, and you could answer this if you want. But like, if there's like a practical how to, for coming into the heart. But then as that kind of came, then I kind of felt like maybe just the desire to be in the heart is enough, because I think we all have unique, different ways of coming into the heart. So we each, if we have a desire to be in the heart, then life will show us the way to remain in as the heart and to be in the heart and to continue letting go of the mind in whatever way we need to. I don't know.
Yeah, I think for myself, inquiry opened my heart. And it might be different for other people, but when I with a client, I search for that opening that gets the heart resonating. And if I don't have a sense of that, then it's a very different interview because I a lot of people are closed at the heart because they're afraid to open it and they're not used to being vulnerable. And so it can be a process. But I've watched many people open their hearts, and it's a glorious thing. Yeah.
And would you feel if somebody just has that kind of idea in their mind, let's say that they want to open their heart, then even that is a good start, because maybe life will draw them towards somebody that can help them to be in a more open space, or life will kind of guide the way. So it doesn't necessarily have to, like, the mind's not all bad, let's say, even if it's only purely in the mind.
Well, if if I was to if I was um, with a client, I would check in and see if it's not already the case. That the opening your heart might signify that it's open right now. And you'll know because the words have a place to land in you. You're not thinking about what you're going to say next. You have a deep resonance with what is being spoken to. Yeah.
So really, if you're checking in like that, probably everyone has an open heart. Like, would it be possible to not have an open heart, really, if you're actually checking?
Really.
I don't know.
I think it is possible. But I would say that there's a crack and you gotta let the light in.
Yeah.
In the crack.
Yeah.
There's a song in there somewhere, I know, but there's I would work the crack.
You say that again, you would what, the crack?
I work with the
You
crack.
work with the crack, yeah. Oh yeah, that's good.
Uh,
Yeah. Somehow it's
yeah.
given a nice image. Like I don't know why when you're just talking, there's like a crack and there's like so much light. Like
Mhm.
going out.
Uh,
I don't
that
know. It is.
that's right. You know,
Mm,
people say that we're more afraid of our light than we are
yeah.
anything else. So,
Mm,
in some circumstances, that's true.
yeah.
Mhm. I could not hold my light, and it took quite a while for me to be able to see that the beauty I was experiencing was inside of my own heart. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I just love looking at you sometimes. I just feel like you're so beautiful.
Thank you so
I know
much.
you
I
do
so
right.
appreciate it. Well, you gave me the opportunity
Mm,
to to shine my life,
mm,
and I am grateful
mm,
for you because I haven't had anybody want to talk to me big, since the stroke, and I was
mm.
so excited. So
That's good. So at the moment or lately, have you been doing any kind of spiritual sharing with like people in your life or
oh yeah, I have a lot of people online that I have a website, so people contact me, and
mm,
um, I people from the center I go to uh, contact me, and
mm,
you know, I live in Huntsville, Alabama, and I love the land here. I hear spiritual people that have trouble settling um, down, and, and they're looking for locations where they feel comfortable. But I always love this land. I feel like I have a real connection with this land. And so I feel home, uh, in my beingness feels home right here.
mm,
And I've lived in California and New York and Indiana and Denver, but I always come back here because this is home. And when you're home in your body and you like where you live, I think you really have uh, uh, it goes deeper than surface information. You're connecting clay to clay, you know,
mm,
and I just uh, this this is the shamanic part of me because
mm,
I just the ancestors are here with me, and I love this connection because all beings are part of what we are, and yeah, I just think it goes much deeper than just um, being the embodiment. You need to be rooted on planet Earth
mm.
and bring that to the conversation.
Yeah. Mm, yeah. And do you think that's just like I know you said that you're totally comfortable, like or like you feel totally like you're in the exact right place. And do you think that's just because you're so like, do you think anybody could feel that if they're just totally kind of grounded in their own body? Then it just reflects there. I guess it could or it couldn't. It's like there's no rule, I suppose.
There's something about you there's something about the earth connection and knowing your place and feeling your place. Then you're at home wherever you go,
Mm.
you know.
Yeah.
But if that central location isn't, then it's like there's a sort of floodiness,
What?
sort of floodiness.
Uh-huh. Yeah, like
Um,
your energy is kind of like high and
yeah,
uppy and
yeah,
like excited, like that kind of
thank you.
feeling.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. It, in no judgment for anyone, but this is my experience.
Mm.
Um, the energy that we are speaking of, um, it's yeah, it's just an earth thing for me. It's yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Like it's like I don't know if it's going to be the same for everybody, but like something is asking for this energy of I don't know, I'm like almost like pointing up as if it's like up, but like you kind of divine energy like wants to come in and down, like
Yes.
and right down into our body. So it's almost like we're, there's a kind of a game in life as if we're kind of waking up to our divinity. But there's also another thing really that when we're waking up to our divinity, really we're waking up to our humanity then, through bringing our energy down in a real grounded way. And I think that's true, really, just really being with everything that comes up in a kind of like really just by being ourself, like being our true self. That's like awakeness. That's really beyond this body, but it's totally here.
Oh, that's beautiful. You got it. Because our bodies are part of the environment. And if we can't decide on where we want to be, then it's we're missed.
Mm.
We are truly missed.
Yeah.
And I always felt that way. I have a small mountain that I've been going there since I was a child. And I always feel like these are the same trees that watched me grow up.
Mm.
It's so beautiful.
Mm.
And I'm from South Bend, Indiana, and we moved down here when I was 10. And at first I hated it, but I grew to love it. And I went back up to Indiana and I didn't feel at home.
Mm.
I was home right here. And I think that everybody it will eventually find their home and that know that's where they belong.
Mm.
But it's 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 nice when you do.
Yeah. It's like I walked through my hometown the other day, and for the first time, I feel like I just felt like I loved it so much. And
Yeah.
it was like, I kind of understood love and everything and all before, but like I just felt like I loved everything. Like it was just everything just felt so alive. And like just it was just like it's just a kind of a normal street. It's not even like naturey or anything. It's just like a street. And like it's not like the most like aesthetically beautiful or anything. It's like it's maybe a little bit dirty and old, it's in Ireland. So it's like it's a bit old fashioned and all, but I just loved it like so much. It's like, oh wow, this is like it's amazing. Like I don't know.
Oh my God. I love this. I experience the same thing.
Mm,
And I do. And I it's so funny because our town has just been listed as the best place to live in the United States.
that's good.
Little Huntsville, Alabama. We were, wow. And now it's gonna grow so big, but I still feel like it's mine.
Yeah. Mm,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. Mm. And I wonder before we finish, is there anything that you'd like to share from your heart that you feel might, I don't know, inspire anyone who's listening to maybe really kind of be curious about living deeper and deeper in the heart, or never
Wow.
end in their journey, you could say, of their journey into the heart, never ending that.
Mm, beautiful. Well, I would say trust your own experience. And if you're um, having a bad or just a thought, and um, you can trust that thought as a messenger of um, what wanting to be inquired into,
Mm,
if you're into inquiry. And to me, inquiry is the fastest way to open your heart,
yeah,
not to yourself, but to yourself and to everyone.
yeah.
Yeah.
And just like to clarify that inquiry can mean a few different things. So just to make it like really practical, okay? That's like some kind of thought that might be coming up for someone, like there's some kind of thought and it's kind of making them feel anxious, let's say. I don't know what the thought is because I can't
Oh,
think of it. Like, how would they use inquiry in the way you're saying to for their benefit, let's
I,
say?
I would uh, see where I feel anxious. This is usually in the lungs and heart area. And I would breathe and see if I could, uh, if the breathing works.
Mm,
And then if it doesn't work, I would inquire, what do, what do you need? What can I do for you this moment?
mm,
And your answer will probably not be true. But if you go deeper and deeper, say, um, if I give you this, um, what would that do for you? And you might sound selfish, like, well, if I hadn't made uh, money, I wouldn't have this problem.
mm,
And if you and say you so it is kind of like you're inquiring now into the money. You you think the money is going to solve your problems, and say the mind will say yes, it's going to solve my problem. And then you say, is it really true? And then something bottoms out and something deeper is inside of that, something that wants to be revealed. And it really comes when it gets too heavy, it can help to have someone to inquire with, because we can guide you. And if anybody is looking for someone to inquire with, I'm available, and I don't charge, and I just I can't. I know that I'm putting myself out there, but I feel so passionate about it that um, it helps me to help someone. So I don't charge.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just before we finish, I just want to clarify again, just to make sure I got it right, and on behalf of everyone who's listening, I'm clarifying as well. So when something comes up in the mind, then there's a feeling associated with it. And through the inquiry, you're kind of asking question to the mind, but kind of coming back into the feeling to check, because we're not really trusting exactly what the mind will say. Like the example you gave, the mind says, everything's going to be okay when I have enough money. Is that right? And the mind is like, yes. But like really come into the feeling. And then like when you said the bottom comes out, it's almost like, because when we're really tuned into the feeling, and allowing it, like it sounds like, to just give it the space as you would if somebody, your great friend or a child or something came to you. You're not just going to tell them, go off now, go away. You're going to really listen to them. So this, in the same way, something that comes up inside us, we're really giving it space and listening to it and asking it questions, almost like, well, not almost like, but like as a part of us, or like as if it's another entity or something, and inquiring that way. Is that what you mean through inquiry?
Yes, that's beautiful. And you made me think. You made me think of something else. When we get energy to thought or to the mind, or if we believe that there's a boogeyman under the bed, we have these experiences like there's a boogeyman under the bed, and it's sort of like that in us. And we have to get to the truth so that we can dispel the Watigo, the Watigo, or whatever this thing is that I can't remember his name. Paul wrote a book, Watigo, and I highly recommend it. It makes you, he takes you on a journey, and it's painful to read, but it's so clear that our imagination creates everything we experience. And so inquiry dispels the illusion.
And it's like a willingness to face, isn't it? It's like, if you're having a dream of like a monster chasing you, and you're running away, and like it's going to be so afraid, and he's going to keep chasing you. But like if you just kind of stop and you're just not afraid for a moment and you turn towards the monster, it like disappears. Like I think many
Yeah,
people have those kind of
yeah,
experiences
that's
or
brilliant.
yeah,
Yes, that's so
yeah,
good.
yeah,
That's the truth.
yeah. And I feel
Because
like
that
yeah,
really it,
yeah,
you know,
mm,
why not imagine a world of peace?
yeah, yeah. And that happens more and more and more, like you said, when that crack is there, and there's
Yeah,
at least a crack in the hearts of everyone. Like to let it's like the light doesn't have to go in, the light has to come out. So there's a crack there in everyone. And when I suppose we just recognize that crack, we get less and less fearful to just kind of
yeah.
be with whatever it is that's appearing moment to moment to moment, whatever it is.
You're cracking the heart to yourself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. Thank you so much for sharing your love and your beingness.
And I love meeting you, and I look forward to your other interviews. I'm glad I found you.
Thank you so much, Gloriji. Thank you. I'd love to give you a big hug.
I, I'm receiving it now.
Oh, yeah, good. Thank you,
Okay.
Gloriji. Thank you for meeting me today.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.